Hello everyone, this is Damon with PixNub Software. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to have the Easy Green Screen 6 batch processor pause after each image is extracted to allow you to touch it up in Photoshop, and it will continue on after you're done with the touch-ups. So to start, I recommend setting the brush size and hardness to about what you need before you start the batch processor. And the reason for that is when it pauses, it doesn't give you full access to the menu. I mean, it does and it doesn't, but I'll explain that in a minute here. So now that I have the brush size set, I'm just going to run the batch processor. I'm going to run the extractions plus the green recovery, and the green recovery is typically where you want to use this pause step. It's the last menu item. If this is checked, it'll pause after extraction to access Photoshop, and it tells you right here there is limited access. So now it's just bringing up the green recovery steps. So I'll just quickly do my lasso selection. Okay, so overall that looks pretty good. There are some areas in the helmet that got partially erased, and there's some areas here that did not, or that brought the screen back. It recovered that. Now you may be able to go in and tweak settings to make everything just like what you want, but for the sake of just showing you how to do the touch-ups, I'm just going to leave this alone. I did pick the one image that I knew could have some stuff that would need touched up. And it's often easier just to brush in than it is to go find the exact settings for each image. I mean, I do recommend trying to find the settings that work for most of the images in your batch, but if it's just a small area, it's just as easy to touch up. So now that we're paused in Photoshop here, it says again we have limited access, and what that limited access means, I mean really everything works, but the Photoshop menu doesn't completely render properly. And if you right click on these items, you can select them, but depending on the version of Photoshop and the graphics card, you might not be able to see them. And what's really happening is we're accessing Photoshop while a script is running, because the batch processing script is still running, and Photoshop was really not designed to be able to access its menu while a script is running. I found a way to give partial access. It'll never be full access, so I decided partial access was better than no access. Now it does bring up the brush window, and everything on this window I've tested on a bunch of different systems seems to work well, so that's why this pops up by default. In any case, getting to the touch-ups here, we've got the green recoveries. It's in a separate layer group, and so you have full access to touch this up. Inside the group itself, you have that lasso selection we made of the green area. That's in the group layer mask, so anything in the white area, it's going to use, and anything in the black area it's not going to use for the recovery area. And so the mask below on the green recovery layer, this is the mask where it's more or less doing a whole nother green screen extraction, and it's defining foreground areas, and it's trying to recover the green on green. So what we need to do is areas that got recovered, like these areas of green here that we know are part of the screen, you just grab a black brush and make sure you're on the green recovery area mask, and you just brush those off. And you can go right over the edges for this, because if we hide this, you see that the helmet is still included inside of the Easy Green Screen extraction, and the recovery layer on top of it just brought some of the green back. So we can go right over the edges. We're just painting off the area. Now you have to be careful you don't paint over areas like, say, of that jersey there that we know should be in the foreground that are green, because it will undo that green recovery. So Control Z on that. It's right in there. That looks good. So now the area on the helmet that got erased, you have to use the other mask. So if you notice in the green recovery mask here, Some of these areas of the helmet, those stickers, were more or less the exact same color as the screen, so those did not get recovered. So you can click on the mask. If you alt click on Windows or option click on Mac, you'll be looking at the mask and you can touch that up. How I like to work is just to click on the mask, so make sure it's highlighted so you're looking at the overall image, but then you're painting in the mask. Now for this, make sure you're using a white brush, and then when you paint, you're forcing that green recovery right back in. Now really, I talked a lot, but this is about a 5 or 6 second process, what I just did for both of these areas. So once you're done, you just hit continue, and then it's going to continue on with the next image. And for this image, I doubt that it's even going to need any touch-up. But this is just a way to quality control as you're running. And with green-on-green recovery, you already have to spend a few seconds to do this process anyway. So it really doesn't hurt to have the pause step in there, because if you see nothing needs corrected, you just hit continue, and then it brings open your next image. So it really doesn't slow the process down. And it only slows it down by a few seconds when you need to recover something, which is better than going in after the fact to recover, in my opinion. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you're interested at all in Easy Green Screen and the green-on-green recovery system, please be sure to visit our website. That is pixnub.com.